We have some catching up to do, both with things that have to do with Zorro Ranch and recent happenings there, as well as the over-redaction of some of the files that have been coming out. We're going to be taking a look at 3 separate news pieces that just dropped and kind of breaking down what exactly is going on in this space. Now, as we're doing this, it's the afternoon. I've got myself my iced coffee ready to roll. Let me know what you guys are drinking right now. Now let's dive into some of this news. Let's start out with some subpoenas that have gone on over here in New Mexico regarding the ranch.
New Mexico's Epstein Truth Commission has released its first batch of subpoenas to the public, and more are on the way.
Earlier this month, the commission announced it's issuing 14 subpoenas. 6 of those are now available on the commission's website.
It is asking the Office of the Attorney General for a slew of files related to Epstein, including any communications the AG had with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York during its investigation there.
The subpoena to the state's land office is mostly about Zorro Ranch and financial transactions between the office and Epstein. The subpoenas issued to the Department of Public Safety and the governor's office are pretty similar. They center on former Governor Bill Richardson and any communication he had with Epstein, including the times he traveled to Epstein's properties.
We will name those who are responsible. Abusers, enablers, and those whose inaction allowed these crimes to continue.
Commissioners are asking the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office for any calls, reports, and case files involving Epstein or Zorro Ranch. The Santa Fe Institute is the only non-government entity to get a subpoena so far. It is being asked to hand over financial records related to Epstein, like donations from him or his accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, and, of course, how that institute would have used that money. Everybody named has until the end of the month to comply with the subpoenas. We expect an update on those subpoenas and to learn about even more going out tomorrow. Epstein survivors will testify at another commission hearing.
It's really nice to see some subpoenas being dropped right here because so much has been ignored, specifically regarding Zorro Ranch. There's some type of a connection there that's keeping the FBI and any type of investigations halted with that ranch. Now, we're going to dive into something else, which is a snippet from a podcast that I found that was also talking about Zorro Ranch, and there is some good company inside of this podcast you're going to want to see, talking about why the ranch hasn't been investigated, but not only that, who owns the ranch now and how they're affiliated. Let's check this one out.
I want to shift gears to Zorro Ranch and the Epstein files. This is something that I think is really interesting. It's my understanding that there was never a thorough investigation of this property of Jeffrey Epstein's. And you've been on the forefront of fighting for their survivors and trying to shine a light on these injustices. And the Zorro Ranch was very, very isolated. And I am not a crime detective, but I watch a lot of true crime. It seems like if you wanted to commit a lot of crimes, you would have isolated spaces. And we know of the island. And then we also know of this ranch. And pop this up, Kylie. The Wall Street Journal is reporting New Mexico investigators have sent letters to J.P. Morgan, Google, and more than 24 companies ordering them to lock down records tied to Jeffrey Epstein and some of his associates, a sign of the widening criminal probe into his Zorro Ranch.
All right, so 2 things are being said right here. First, that this is a very isolated space. Much like the island, Zorro Ranch may even be more isolated than the island. The amount of space here in between anything else is actually outstanding. I mean, the island is as well with all the water in between, but I feel like if you wanted to hide stuff, this may have been the better place. Now, in addition to that, there's been a lot of people that are trying to get things protected with this ranch. They're trying to continuously hide things that have gone on here at the ranch, whether that be emails, messages, financial type information, not specifically anything regarding death or that type of crime, but definitely other types of crime and even connections with who was affiliated with Epstein and this ranch. Let's see what Khan has to say.
You have been in the forefront of this. Tell my viewers and listeners what the status of this is.
Well, I met with the New Mexico Attorney General, and I'm glad that they're pursuing this. First, I said he has standing, actually, to sue the Department of Justice to get the files. I mean, the reality is that, Massey and I passed that law. 3 million files have been released, but they're still sitting on 3 million files.
Did you hear that? 3 million files have come out, heavily redacted, mind you, which we're going to get to in the next part of this video. But out of the 3 million that have come out, there's still 3 million more that we have not seen anything from. Not redacted, not nothing. We have no look at it whatsoever. When those get dumped as well, this is all going to be blown wide open all over again.
Well, now you are the New York Attorney General. You actually have standing saying, I want to be able to look at what happened in this ranch. I want to be able to conduct criminal investigations. And the Trump Department of Justice is withholding certain documents in violation of the law. So I appreciate how aggressive he's being, but it has been a totally undercover story. There was abuse on Epstein's Island. There was also a lot of abuse on this ranch, and it needs to be investigated. And these men who did this need to be held accountable.
And women, because we know that there were other women involved in this as well. The easiest to name is Ghislaine Maxwell, who wasn't only there to bring the girls to Epstein, but also participated in some of the activities as well. And I'm sure there were other women that were also in the wrong too.
Is it true? I read that a Trump super donor bought Zorro Ranch and currently owns it.
I am not sure of that. I had read the same thing, but I don't want to, confirm it without facts. Yeah. But I had read that I know it was owned by someone. I didn't know whether there's a link to Trump there.
Now, wouldn't that be strange? Now, of course, Trump knows many wealthy people. He's friends with many wealthy people. It could very well be a coincidence that someone that he knows that was extremely wealthy bought the ranch, because the ranch can't be purchased by any average Joe. I can't afford the ranch, but these wealthy people could. But it makes you ask the question, would someone that's connected to Trump who really doesn't seem like he wants anything to be investigated very deeply, could one of his friends have purchased this to try and stall any of the investigation or prevent it from happening or clean up any of the mess? That's just all. Nothing is confirmed there, but it's just a question. Now we're going to switch over and talk about some of these extremely heavy redactions and what's actually missing from the files.
A CBS News analysis is raising questions about unexplained redactions and what's missing from the Epstein files released so far. The Justice Department made more than 3 million pages of documents public under the Epstein Files Transparency Act. That's the bill President Trump himself signed into law. But the DOJ has also said it collected more than 6 million pages of material related to Jeffrey Epstein. So what's in the other half of those files? Our review identified several areas where questions remain or documents appear to be unreleased. The Epstein Files law provides only limited grounds for withholding information or redacting names.
If you notice right here, it says Steve Bannon's picture redacted, photo already existed online, names of Epstein contacts, acquaintances redacted, no obvious reason given, and many emails have senders or recipients' names redacted.
For example, the DOJ redacted a photo of Steve Bannon. His face was blacked out, but the picture already exists online. The names of business contacts and acquaintances of Epstein appear to have been redacted without any obvious reason. And many emails have senders or recipients' names redacted. The Epstein Files Transparency Act also requires the DOJ to justify every redaction in writing and to submit it to Congress.
There's no way that's happening. That they have to, in writing, submit for every single redaction. Have you seen some of these documents? They have 50 to 100 redactions on a document. If they had to do in writing for each redaction on 6 million files, it would take a century to get this done. And I truly believe that the team doing this is very small, and I feel like they are in no rush to get the job done.
The department has made no attempt to address specific redactions. Instead, it issued a general statement saying its redactions were consistent with the act. After CBS News reached out to the DOJ, the picture of Bannon and 2 of the emails were quietly unredacted.
So there is definitely some shady business going on with the redactions, and I would very much be interested to have a conversation with one of the people that's in charge of doing the redactions, because the information that they have just from reading those files has got to be extensive. There should be a time when the people that are doing redactions have to answer in court and talk about some of the things that they saw when more of these names come out. Because remember, it's not the names of the victims that are being redacted and protected. It's the name of the people doing the crimes. And that is just wrong. If you want to dive deeper into the Epstein files with me or any other controversy, you can check out this video right here. And remember, guys, as always, I'll see you over there.